Over the course of a career that spanned more than half a century, this musician modeled an incredible variety of musical hats that were opposites of one another. Band leader, record producer, talent scout, label owner, nightclub impresario, disc jockey, TV variety show host, author, R&B pioneer, and rock and roll star. This man answered all those descriptions and quite a few more. Not bad for a Greek American who loved jazz and R&B so fervently that he adopted the African American culture as his own. The centerpiece of today's video is all about Johnny Otis. Now before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more content. Now, without further ado, let's cue that intro. Born in Vallejo, California, to Greek immigrant parents Alexander J. Velios, a Mare Island longshoreman and grocery store owner, and his wife Irene Cascakes, a painter. He had a younger sister, Dorothy, and a younger brother, Nicholas Velios, who served as the United States ambassador to Jordan from 1978 to 1981, and Egypt from 1984 to 1986. Johnny was raised in a primarily black neighborhood in Berkeley, California, where his father operated a grocery store. He rose to prominence as a result of his decision to live both professionally and personally as an African American. He wrote, "As a kid, I decided that if our society dictated that one had to be black or white, I would be black." On May 2nd, 1941, when Otis was 19, he married Phyllis Walker, an 18-year-old woman of African American and Filipino descent from Oakland, whom he had known since childhood. Despite deep and enduring objections from his mother, the young couple left California and eloped to marry in Reno, Nevada, where interracial marriage was accepted at the time. The couple had 4 children, 2 sons, Shuggy Otis and Nicholas Otis, both of whom became musicians, and 2 daughters, Janice and Laura. Velios changed his name to the blacker sounding Otis when he was a teenager. Drums were his first passion, having bought a set by forging his father's signature on a credit slip. Soon after, he dropped out of Berkeley High School in his junior year. He spent time behind the traps with the Oakland-based orchestra of Count Otis Matthews and kept time for various Midwestern swing outfits before settling in Los Angeles during the mid-80s and joining Harlan Leonard's Rockets, then resident at the club Alabama. By 1939, they were performing at many local functions, mostly in and around Oakland and Berkeley, and were the most popular among their peers. It wasn't long until the Alabama's owner asked Otis to form his own orchestra for house band duties. The group's 1945 Excelsior debut singles were clearly in the big band jazz vein, with a well-selling adaptation of the melancholy Harlem Nocturne. Otis' reputation as a drummer was developing, and he supported Wynie Harris and Charles Brown the same year. The Otis Band continued to record for Excelsior until 1947, but his impact on Los Angeles R&B scene grew enormously when he and partner Bardo Ali founded the Barrel House Club in Watts. R&B replaced jazz, and Otis' heart he pared the big band down and discovered young talents such as the Robins, vocalist Mel Walker, and Little Esther Phillips, and guitarist Pete Lewis that would serve him well in years to come. Otis signed with Newark, New Jersey-based Savoy Records in 1949, and the R&B hits came in droves. Double Crossing Blues,
Been looking for you, Daddy,
Mistrusting Blues,
'cause I just can't trust in you.
and Cupid's Boogie.
Step into my life, I met a fine cat and I've just got to be his wife.
All hit #1 that year. In all, Otis scored 10 top 10 smashes that year alone. In 1951, he scored more hits with G Baby,
G baby, you will
Mambo Boogie, all night long.
Pull the rug off the floor. Don't nobody answer if you hear a knock. Just grab your baby
And Sunset to Dawn.
Yes, when things wasn't going right.
Capped his amazing run in 1952. By then, Otis had branched out to play vibes on many waxings. In late 1951, Otis moved to Mercury, but apart from a Walker-led version of Floyd Dixon's call Operator 210, nothing found pronounced success with the public.
Just singing all alone.
A contract with Dawn Rugby's Peacock logo produced some nice jump blues sides but no hits. Though the Otis Orchestra backed one of his many discoveries, Big Mama Thornton, on her chart topping Hound Dog as well as a Young Little Richard while at Peacock. Otis was a masterful talent scout. Among his Platinum Edge discoveries were Jackie Wilson, Little Willie John, Hank Ballard, and Etta James. In 1955, Otis took studio matters into his own hands, starting up his own label, Dig Records, to showcase his own work as well as his latest discoveries, including Arthur Lee May and the Crowns, Tony Allen, and Mel Williams. Rock and roll was at its zenith in 1957 when a multi-instrumentalist signed on with Capitol Records billed as the Johnny Otis Show. He set the R&B and pop charts ablaze in 1958 with a shave and a haircut beat. Willie and the Hand Jive. Taking the vocal himself, other singers then with the Otis Show included Mel Williams and the gargantuan Marie Adams in the 3 Tons of Joy. During the late 50s, Otis hosted his own variety program on LA television, starring his entire troupe, and did a guest shot in a 1958 movie, Jukebox Rhythm. After making some fantastic rock and roll for Capitol from 1957 to 1959 with only one success to show for it, Otis signed with King Records in 1961. In addition to his own output, Otis Band supported Johnny Guitar Watson on several songs. Later the decade, Otis recorded some raucous material for Kent and watched his younger son, Shuggy, establish an inviolable reputation as a blues guitarist while recording for Columbia. In 1982, father and son collaborated on an album called The New Johnny Otis Show, which was released by Alligator. As his music career waned in the 1960s, Otis involved himself in other projects. He authored a book, Listen to the Lambs, which analyzed the impact of the riots on Watts in 1965. He became involved in the civil rights movement and politics, running unsuccessfully for a seat in the California State Assembly. He then served as Deputy Chief of Staff to Mervyn M. Dimely, a Democratic California State Assembly who became the state's first black lieutenant governor in 1974 and later served in the U.S. House of Representatives. In the mid-1970s, Otis was ordained as a minister and opened a non-denominational Landmark Community Church in Los Angeles. In the 1990s, he wrote 3 more books of memoir of his life and music, a collection of his own artwork, and a cookbook. Toward the end of his life, Otis was an organic farmer and briefly tried to market Johnny Otis apple juice. He was elected to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1994. Otis passed away at home in Altadena, California on January 17, 2012 at the age of 90. Few people have given as much to rhythm and blues music as Johnny Otis. He worked tirelessly to make the music accessible to the masses, probably because as a white man who frequently passed for black, he knew the culture from the inside. And he loved it. If blues ever boasted a Renaissance man among its ranks, Johnny Otis surely filled that bill. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song from Johnny Otis or a song he produced?